lovely listeners, Moonbeam here, and welcome back to another cozy episode of Let's Read, your escape into the world of Zhu Yao's adventures. I hope you're settling in with your favorite drink and getting comfortable. Before we continue our journey together, if you're enjoying these stories as much as I am, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button and give this episode a like. It genuinely helps me keep bringing you these readings, and it means the world to know you're here with me. So, are you ready? We're continuing from that intense cliffhanger last time, diving into Chapter 14, The Sect Master's Headache. And honestly, after everything that happened, I think we're all about to find out just how much pressure poor Reverend Zemo can handle. Last time, our powerful, aloof Master Yu Yan, after his field investigation into mortal women's physiology, decided to make his disciple sanitary pads from precious millennium ice silk. And then, in a moment of pure, innocent cluelessness, he sought out the Ancient Hills Sect Master, Reverend Zemo, to ask a very personal question. Chapter 14 opens with Zemo utterly bewildered, asking, "The thing ancestral martial uncle is speaking of, is it a type of mystic art?" Yu Yan's deadpan reply, "Food." Zemo, still confused, "Food? Is it an unknown heavenly treasure?" "No," Yu Yan frowned, probably thinking, is this guy really that clueless too? "It's a type of drink usually given to people who are experiencing a loss of blood." Zemo's lips twitch. He finally gets it. Is ancestral martial uncle referring to water that is boiled after the brown sugar has dissolved in it? Yu Yan nods. So simple. "Do you have brown sugar here?" Yu Yan asks. Zemo coughs. No, he stammers, promising to send a request for it to be delivered tomorrow. Yu Yan agrees, satisfied, and turns to leave. But then he stops, turns back, and with a seriously stern expression asks, "Say, during a woman's period, other than drinking brown sugar water, is there anything else that needs to be taken note of?" Huh? His legs jerk and he almost falls. A woman's period? Ancestral, martial uncle, why are you asking about this? He sputters. Yu Yan squints at him, a hint of disdain in his eyes. You don't know either? So much for having so many disciples under you. Poor Zemo is sweating buckets. He bites the bullet and says, "This disciple hasn't really researched it deeply. However, I heard that during that period, women experience a huge loss of blood. They cannot be overly exhausted, and they cannot come in contact with anything cold." Yu Yan nods, silently taking notes. Then he continues his stern interrogation. Then, what material is best for sanitary pads? He clearly remembers Zhu Yao's strange expression when she received the raw silk pads, probably thinking she was unsatisfied with the material. Zemo is speechless. Why is his ancestral martial uncle asking him, a man, about women's private matters? This disciple thinks that it should be a fabric material with good water absorption characteristics. For example, fresh camlet and the like. Fresh camlet? He's startled. That's made from low-grade spirit silk. He doesn't have any of that on hand. He stares silently at the cold, sweating Zemo. Zemo trembles and with no choice pulls out his storage pouch and a bunch of white fabric. This disciple has a few pieces of them. If ancestral martial uncle does not mind, you can freely choose. Zemo, nods. Before Zemo can finish, he waves his hand and all the fresh camlet fabric disappears into his own storage ring. Zemo, still holding his empty storage pouch, Silo, he didn't say he was giving all of it. Ancestral martial uncle is a little too bold. Zemo's heart aches and he doesn't dare ask it back. Ancestral martial uncle, the reason why you're asking about all this is... Zemo tries again, unable to believe Yu Yan just suddenly developed an interest in women's matters after 10,000 years. Yu Yan answers without a care. My disciple's on her period. I'm taking care of her. Oh, right. His new disciple. Wait a minute. Is there a need for him to take care of something like this? Ancestral martial uncle, junior martial auntie is a woman, he says, desperately trying to get him to understand the difference. Yu Yan gives him a chilled glance. Isn't that obvious? Zemo's heart cramps. This disciple is trying to say, if you're this worried about junior martial auntie, is she all right? Yu Yan frowns. She fainted. Then adds, it's just blood loss. Nothing to worry about. He's confident in his medicine and pain-relieving mystic art. Zemo is pulling his hair out. Ancestral martial uncle, do you happen to know what periods, mean to women? Yu Yan, having gotten what he needed, sweeps his sleeves, ready to leave. Zemo quickly continues. In the mortal realm, when a girl reaches 11 or 12 years old, or even earlier, they will have, this means that they have reached adulthood, and they can, he starts to say, marry. Before Yu Yan can finish, his figure flashes, disappearing without a trace. Zemo is left hanging, mid-sentence. Rubbing his storage pouch, Zemo's heart aches even more. Yu Yan came late at night just to take all of his fresh camlet. Fresh camlet isn't super precious, but it's used for refining water-type weapons. Due to its strong absorption and defense, using it for sanitary pads is unthinkable. And the worst part, Yu Yan took all of it. Zemo sighs painfully. What can he do? It's his ancestral martial uncle. He just has to let it go. But then on his bed, he spots a piece of glowing white fabric, like moonlight. Yu Yan must have left it for him. Zemo picks it up and his hands tremble. This is Southern Sea Sharkman raw silk, a rare treasure used to refine high-grade defensive spiritual treasures. Sharkmans are powerful beasts, basically acid-stage cultivators, and they treat their raw silk like their life. To get one, you have to fight a Sharkman to the death. And now he has a piece. Zemo chuckles, touching it. His depression from losing the fresh camlet is instantly replaced with immense satisfaction. He wouldn't mind giving ancestral martial uncle a few more 100 pieces of fresh camlet now. But then, the unsettling thought creeps back. If Yu Yan left this raw silk as an exchange for the fresh camlet, it means he only had raw silk on hand before this. Then the material he used for the first batch of sanitary pads was raw silk? Zemo suddenly feels uncomfortable all over his body. As Zemo sinks into deep frustration, Yu Yan has already returned to Yade-Found Mountain, planning to sew sanitary pads all night. He glances towards Zhu Yao's dark house, worried. This disciple of his is too weak and not too bright. She was hurting so much but wouldn't tell him why. Weak and stupid, he thinks. If he doesn't watch her closely, he's worried she might die of stupidity one day. Inside, Zhu Yao is fast asleep. Yu Yan checks her pulse. Much stronger now, she shouldn't feel as much pain. He sighs in relief and looks at his silly disciple, rolled up in her blanket. Suddenly, he remembers Zemo's words. Women must not catch a cold during this special time. After a moment of thought, he silently pulls out another blanket and covers her. A mortal catches cold easily, right? Still worried, he takes out a third blanket. Still a little worried, he takes out a fourth blanket. Thus, on Zhu Yao's 6th morning as a disciple, she was woken up by the sheer heat. Our poor Zhu Yao was literally buried under 10 blankets, placed there by a very concerned Master Yu Yan to prevent her from catching a cold during her period. She wakes up to find him calmly holding an 11th blanket, ready to pile it on. Master, Zhu Yao says, feeling utterly disheartened. Is this his new way of waking her up? She has to admit, he wins. Yu Yan indifferently responds, keeping the 11th blanket out of sight. From his calm expression, you'd never know he'd been hovering by her bedside all night. How's your body? He asks, already reaching for her wrist to check her pulse. Zhu Yao, being questioned about her auntie first thing in the morning, blushes beet red. But seeing his serious face, she bravely replies, much better. She even tries to get up as if to prove she's healthy. Yu Yan, seeing her pulse as normal, finally relaxes. He tells her to rest more, but then remembers her request for brown sugar water from yesterday and heads to the kitchen. Master, wait a minute. Just as he turns, Zhu Yao, with a pitiful, almost crying expression, tugs his sleeve. He turns back to see his stupid disciple pleading, Do you mind pulling me out? I'm being pressed on by the blankets. I can't get out by myself at all. Oh, the indignity. 5 days later, Zhu Yao's period finally finished. Those 5 days were pure misery. Not only was her master sewing and making sanitary pads nonstop, but Jade Forest Mountain, usually so quiet, became a bustling hub. Waves of disciples came up the mountain, all bringing brown sugar supplies. And every single one gave her curious looks. She felt like the entire sect knew about her auntie. A bowl of brown sugar water also appeared at every single meal. After drinking so much, she now feels nauseous just looking at water. But since her master made them, she had no choice but to bite the bullet and drink every last drop. So the moment her period ended, she made it very clear, very bluntly, and very firmly that she no longer needed them. Only then did her master finally stop his poison-feeding actions. Because of this incident, Zhu Yao became seriously concerned about her cultivation life. Looking at her master from all angles, she couldn't deny he was amazing. Handsome, high cultivation, high status, and he'd even maxed out all his life skills. The main point was, he was incredibly good to her, his disciple. The only flaw was, he lacked a bit of common sense. That's right, common sense. Like this whole incident. If it weren't for his utterly sincere demeanor, she genuinely believed he had a hole in his brain. She seriously wondered how he'd survived so many years. It seemed like she'd have to remind him from time to time in the future. With a master who was basically a walking bundle of worries, it looked like her dream of a quiet life as a female cultivator was out the window. Having a long sigh, Zhu Yao, who had basically been holed up for another half month after the anti-incident, decided to head down the mountain to relieve her boredom. She caught a passing disciple and had him take her to the main mountain. She wanted to go check on little Wang. After all, they were from the same hometown, and she'd been the one to bring him to the sect. She felt a natural responsibility for him. And from their last encounter, the little guy was clearly worried about her too. Even though he was young, he already had the makings of a real man. A sense of pride somehow welled up within her. After asking around, she found out that their batch of new disciples had already finished their lectures and been assigned to various mountains. This senior marshal brother, she asked, a disciple, I wonder if you've heard of a child named Wang Zuji and where he was assigned? Wang Zuji! The disciple's eyes lit up, his earlier irritated attitude turning incredibly enthusiastic. Are you asking about the sect master's newly accepted chamber disciple? The one with the fire heavenly spirit vein? Zhu Yao nodded. She wasn't sure if little Wang was the sect master's disciple, but if he had a fire heavenly spirit vein, it had to be him. Mind if I ask the disciple began. I'm his big sister, Zhu Yao casually supplied, wanting to avoid being called ancestor by yet another person. Unexpectedly, the disciple's attitude became even more respectful. Junior marshal brother Wang was indeed taken in by the sect master. Currently, he should be in the Sword Mountain. If junior sister doesn't mind, this disciple here can bring you there. Zhu Yao was thrilled to have a guide. She followed him, learning that Sword Mountain wasn't far from Jade Forest Mountain. It actually floated right beneath it. Plus, there were teleportation forms between the mountains, so no need for flying. The disciple took Zhu Yao through several teleportation forms, finally arriving at a small courtyard. With just one glance, Zhu Yao spotted little Wang, swinging a sword that was much longer than himself. Zhu Yao thanked her guide and bade him goodbye, then entered the courtyard. The moment she stepped in, Wang Zushi saw her. A huge surprise flashed across his little sweat-drenched face. He immediately put away his sword and sprinted towards her, shouting loudly as he ran. Wife! Zhu Yao immediately raised her fist and delivered a solid knock to his small head, making a big bump appear. What nonsense are you shouting? You have no manners at all. It's not nonsense. Little Wang rubbed his painful head with a pitiful expression, stubbornly refuting her. My father once told me a woman treats her husband as her sky, so I'm bigger than you. Why could he not drop this matter? Zhu Yao couldn't help but forcefully pinch his round cheeks. It seems a little child like you haven't been taught well. Why is having a wife on your mind every single day? Who would become your wife anyway? Of course it's you, Wang Zushi said seriously. A real man must be upright and keep to his words. I once said I will marry you, so I will definitely marry you. I won't despise you. And I'm already 10 years old. I'm no longer a child. Ah, yeah, you're rather stubborn, aren't you? Zhu Yao asked, amused, stroking his head. Was that something your father taught you as well? Wang Zushi shook his head, then frowned, as if considering what she said. But my master has a wife. Big senior marshal brother has a wife, and senior marshal brother Shushu has a wife too. All right. Her version of education seemed to be incorrect. I heard the sect master has taken you in as your disciple. Zhu Yao quickly changed the topic. The moment she brought up her master, Wang Zushi instantly puffed out his chest with pride and haughtily raised his head. I'm a chamber disciple, you know? Hearing the term chamber disciple again and asking little Wang about it. Little Wang, ever so serious, explains, I heard from eldest senior marshal brother that only chamber disciples are taught mystic arts personally by master. The rest of the inner sect disciples are taught by my senior marshal brothers. Zhu Yao thinks there's actually a system like this, but it makes sense. The ancient hill sect has thousands of disciples. If mountain lords taught every single one, they'd be exhausted. So the high status of a chamber disciple is obvious. Not bad, little wimp. You're sure doing well. Zhu Yao praises him, patting his head. Little Wang beams, a little prideful rooster, giving her a look that says, I will be the one protecting you in the future. He dodges her hand, proudly boasting, let me tell you this. I'm already at the 3rd level of essence. Even big senior marshal brother wasn't as fast as me. Tell me, aren't I really awesome? Yes, 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 you're awesome. You're the most awesome little kid ever, Zhu Yao says, indulging him. How could she resist those eyes begging for attention? She feels a sudden maternal pride, like a son has just grown up. Wang Shuzi blushes and scratches his head, a little embarrassed by her praise. Then what about you? What level are you at right now? Zhu Yao falls silent, her lips twitching. She's been on Jade Forest Mountain for almost a month, and forget the essence stage, she doesn't even know what spiritual energy is. Her master talked about absorbing it, but she can't sense anything. She feels a deep powerlessness, wondering if she's just too old to compare to these little turnips. Wang Shuji senses her mood change, and his sparkling eyes fill with worry. He pulls her hand, hesitantly saying, You don't be depressed. Even if you haven't entered the essence stage, it's not really a big deal. Hao Kai, who came along with us, just managed to sense spiritual energy as well. Gah. Comparing her to a little wimp to console her, her mood worsens. Seeing her still down, Wang Shuzi scratches his head, pacing in circles. In any case, you will definitely be really awesome really soon. If you really can't enter the essence stage, then I will support you. Poof! Zhu Yao nearly bursts out laughing, a little turnip saying he'll support her so decisively. This is a first in her 20-something years. She'd always treated his wife comments as a joke. Earlier, she'd only pretended to be depressed to tease him, but she never expected such a serious offer. She can't help but laugh at his earnest little face. Don't you laugh? I'm serious. Don't you believe me? Wang Shuji anxiously stomps his feet, seeing her laugh even louder. Zhu Yao squats down, pulling the flustered little turnip into her embrace and stroking his head. This little wimp, he makes me laugh and feel so touched. She nods heavily. I do believe you. Then I will wait for you to grow up and support me, all right? Little Wang snorts heavily, finally quieting down and letting her hug him. Little junior marshal brother, from nearby a 15 to 16-year-old walks over, smiling. He looks friendly, but a hint of suspicion flickers in his eyes as he glances at Zhu Yao. Little Wang, setting sect marshal brother, Wang Shuzi says, squeezing out of Zhu Yao's embrace, this person is also one of the sect master's chamber disciples. Little junior marshal brother, this junior marshal's sister is, the newcomer Du Yuan Chen asks, giving Zhu Yao a light glance. This is my Wang Shuji starts to blurt it out again, but Zhu Yao, with nimble hands, quickly covers his mouth. This loud-mouthed little wimp, she doesn't want rumors about a May-December romance spreading through the sect tomorrow. Ho-ho, I'm his big sister. Blood-related, she quickly interjects. So you're his elder sister. Du Yuan-Chen politely smiles, sizing her up. He can't see through her cultivation level, meaning she hasn't started or she's much higher than him. Given her apparent age, he assumes the latter. My name is Du Yuan-Chen, a disciple under Reverend Z. Moore. Mind if I ask which reverend is Senior Marshal's sister under? I'm called Zhu Yao. I'm a disciple from the Talisman Mountain. She lies slightly, still avoiding being called ancestor. Du Yuan-Chen nods, no longer questioning her. He turns to Wang Shuji. Little junior marshal brother, it's almost time, let's go look for master together. Wang Shuji is startled. He needs to see his master, but he's reluctant to leave Zhu Yao. He looks at her with a difficult expression. Go on, Zhu Yao says. It's also about time for me to return. Let's head out together. Only then is Wang Shuji satisfied. He follows Du Yuan-Chen, occasionally peeking back at Zhu Yao, as if he was afraid he might lose her. They chat idly, and Du Yuan-Chen interjects politely into our conversations. From their talk, Zhu Yao learns that there are very few chamber disciples in each mountain. Only those with exceptional talent are taken in personally by mountain lords. For example, Sect Master Reverend Z. Moore only has 5 chamber disciples right now. Du Yuan-Chen is the 4th, having joined 15 years ago and currently in Essence Paragon. Little Wang is the youngest. Du Yuan-Chen seems to genuinely like his little junior marshal brother, which puts Zhu Yao slightly at ease. Along the way, many Sword Mountain disciples bow to them, confirming that chamber disciples hold extremely high status. Du Yuan-Chen and Little Wang are used to it, walking with steady gazes. Little Wang, with his childish mind, is even more cocky. He has extreme respect for his master, constantly praising him as extremely awesome and #1 in the world. Zhu Yao curls her lips, unable to shatter his idol worship. She wonders what face he'd make if he knew his master had to call her martial aunt. So, like I was saying, your master must be terribly bad. That's why you're still not as awesome as me. Why don't you have my master take you in as his disciple as well? My master really dotes on me, so he'll definitely accept you. Little Wang feels his words are more and more reasonable. With his small hands, he starts pulling Zhu Yao towards his master's cave residence. Zhu Yao is about to stop him, when suddenly a loud bang echoes. In front of her, a black figure flashes past, and with a sickening "pa" sound, it falls right in front of them, staining the ground with a pool of blood. A flying corpse out of nowhere? What the hell? The person on the ground was no longer breathing, fresh blood gushing from his head, staining the ground crimson. Zhu Yao, at 28, had never seen such a gruesome sight. And the victim? A child of only about 10 years old. Little fatty Zhao! Little Wang immediately recognizes the boy, exclaiming in horror. Zhu Yao quickly covers his eyes. Little Wang struggles for a moment, then buries his head into her embrace, completely silent. He's clearly terrified. Zhu Yao is shaken too. She remembers the boy, the little fatty she saw when she got her identity tablet, the bully. She never expected to see him like this, just a month later. She glances up and sees another familiar child standing 10 steps away, Xiao Yi, the little beggar with the duo spirit veins. He's panting, staring wide-eyed at the unconscious little fatty Zhao. His white robe is torn, his body covered in oozing wounds. His eyes are still filled with hostility, and the longsword in his hands has fresh bloodstains on it. The implication is crystal clear. The commotion quickly draws a crowd, and soon many disciples form a circle around the scene. Du Yuan-Chen is the first to react. In a single leap, he's in front of Xiao Yi, kicking away the bloody longsword. He summons his own flying sword to restrain the boy, then turns to the approaching disciples and instructs, "Hurry and notify master." Xiao Yi doesn't resist. He's probably too weak. Du Yuanchen easily subdues him, but in Xiaoyi's clear eyes, an unyielding defiance still shines. More and more disciples gather, murmuring softly. Zhu Yao, still a bit dazed by the scene, just holds little Wang tightly, not letting him see. "What's with this commotion?" A loud, clear voice booms from the sky. A white figure flies over from the main hall. It's the sect master of ancient hill sect, Zimo. The noisy crowd immediately falls silent. Zimo's gaze sweeps over little fatty Zhao. His expression turns cold as he kneels to check the boy's body. With a wave of his hand, he casts an art, and a curtain of light envelops the bloody child. The bleeding stops instantly, and the wounds begin closing at visible speed. After the light dissipates, Zimo feeds him a pellet. A moment later, little fatty Zhao breathes again. Zimo then turns to the crowd demanding, "His cultivation has been crippled. Who was the one who dealt such a deadly hand?" He knows this injured boy, the son of Yuanshu, the first disciple under the Weapon Mountain Lord. How could he be hurt this badly? Replying to Master, Du Yuanchen says, forcefully pulling Xiaoyi up, "It's him." Zimo looks at Du Yuanchen, then at Xiaoyi, his expression turning utterly cold. What happened? Du Yuanchen bows and explains, "Little junior martial brother, junior martial sister and I passed by earlier and coincidentally saw him dealing a heavy blow to junior martial brother Zhao." Zimo turns to Zhu Yao, who is hugging little Wang and is momentarily stunned. "Little martial aunt? Why are you here? Unless..." Reflexively, Zimo clutches his own storage pouch and glances around. Only when he realizes that person, Master Yi Yan, who constantly emits chilling air, isn't there, does he finally sigh in relief. Fortunately, ancestral martial uncle isn't here. After covering his momentary panic with a cough, he instructs a disciple to notify the weapon refining mountain lord, Reverend Ziwan, and little Fatty's father, Yuan Shu, to come to the main hall. Then he looks hesitantly at Zhu Yao. "The four of you, follow me to the main hall." With that, he carries little fatty Zhao and heads to the main mountain on his flying sword. As witnesses, Zhu Yao, Du Yuanchen, and Xiaoyi have no choice but to follow, using the teleportation forms to the main mountain. Only after reaching the entrance of the main hall does Zhu Yao think to uncover little Wang's eyes. It's rare for him not to throw a tantrum, showing just how truly frightened he was by the earlier scene. His eyes lack their usual sparkle, and his little hands unconsciously clutch the corner of her sleeves. Zhu Yao's heart softens. That scene would frighten an adult, let alone a child. She strokes his head, saying, "Don't be afraid, big sister is here." Wang Shuji looks up at her, nods, then immediately shakes his head. Zhu Yao sighs, takes his hand, and they enter the main hall. Inside the main hall, besides Zimo, there are two other people. One is an aged man emanating an unyielding aura, likely Weapon Mountain Lord Ziyan. The other, standing behind him, must be little fatty Zhao's father, Yuan Shu Yao. Little fatty himself is nowhere to be seen. He's probably already been sent for treatment. Du Yuanchen, who arrived earlier, has already explained the incident. Xiaoyi, meanwhile, is restrained by glowing ropes, held in place by some mystic art. Zimo's expression is heavy, a deep frown on his face. He's clearly unsure how to handle this dilemma. At such a young age, not only did he disregard the sect rules, his attacks are even heavy and ruthless. Punishment must be dealt. Zion Shu explodes, his eyes staring ruthlessly at the restrained Xiaoyi. "Sect Master Martial Uncle, please uphold justice for my son." Zimo raises a hand, signaling him to calm down. He steps forward, looking at the wounded Xiaoyi, and asks, "Speak. Why did you deal such a heavy hand?" With a body full of wounds, Xiaoyi looks at him stubbornly, replying with emphasis on every single word. He deserved it. Yuanshu flares up, rushing forward. Even now, you still do not repent on your actions? What do you take the sect's rules for? Xiaoyi simply snorts coldly, rebutting, and when did your son ever take the sect rules seriously? Bullying brothers and sisters of the same sect, using his status to oppress people? I simply took the heaven's place to punish him by beating him up. I only regret that my blows were too light. Yuanshu is about to strike him, but Ziwan, his own master, stops him. Ziwan coldly looks at the boy on the ground, then turns to Zimo. Senior martial brother, the current matter has already been made clear. Our sect has rules in place. I hope senior martial brother can deal with this matter fairly. How do you think we should deal with this matter? Zimo asks. Ziwan strokes his white beard, seemingly indifferent, but his words are chillingly firm. According to the sect rules, he should be expelled from the sect after having his cultivation crippled and his spirit veins removed. The moment those words fall, everyone in the main hall is stunned. Lying on the ground, Xiaoyu's expression fills with despair. He tightly clenches his small hands, a hint of blood oozing from his fists, but he grits his teeth, making no sound. Zimo frowns even further. Crippling his cultivation is one thing, but removing his spirit veins means he can never cultivate again. This disciple, Xiaoyi, is a good seedling, and it would be a pity to destroy him. However, he can't ignore his junior martial brother's demands. For a moment, he's in a dilemma. He glances around, and then his eyes land on the person holding his little disciple at the entrance. His eyes momentarily light up. Following the rules, he bows towards Zhu Yao, speaking respectfully. I wonder if little martial aunt has any wise opinion on this matter. What the hell? For a moment, Zhu Yao felt as though she had been struck by a ball. Oh my goodness, Zhu Yao now thrust into the center of a sect-shattering dilemma. A fight to the death, a crippled cultivation, and a demand to destroy a talented youth. And now the sect master himself is asking her for advice? What will our grand martial aunt do? How will she navigate this impossible situation? You'll have to tune in next time to find out. Thank you so much for joining me on Let's Read. Don't forget to subscribe and like this podcast if you enjoyed it. Your support means the world to me. Until next time, keep reading, keep listening, and keep adventuring. Bye for now.